My major was Russian in college, and something to keep in mind about Donald Trump is that he is using Russian law enforcement techniques whenever he can, and if as any power he regains, he will use to continue using Russian law enforcement techniques. What I mean by that is that, as you know, the president is the chief law enforcement officer uh, in the government, and the way presidents work is that they will define what is emphasized during their uh, during their time in office. Say they want to emphasize white collar crime, or they want to emphasize gang violence, or they want to emphasize a war on drugs, or they want to emphasize Islamic extremism, whatever they want to emphasize during their time in office. They will lay out a emphasis of a particular type of crime, and then it is the Department of Justice and law enforcement's job then to emphasize going out and finding the people who are involved in those crimes and bring them to justice. I remember one time, goodness, I was just on my way up to tell my wife's parents that I had asked my wife to marry me and to get the father's okay, as we used to do back in the day, and as I'm sure many young men do today. But as we were going up, I forget how fast we were going. This was back quite a bit ago, of course. But a police officer stopped us, and I forget how fast we were going. I'll just say we were going 55. Police officer stopped us, and he was very apologetic. He said, the president was on the television last night saying that because of the oil embargo, that should indicate how long ago it was, and we're trying to develop some energy independence. Therefore, he said that we are going to be giving speeding tickets of anybody going over 50 miles an hour, or it might have been 55 and 60. Anyway, and so we got a speeding ticket, but the officer was kind of apologetic about it, and somehow we scraped together the money to pay the fine. So the president had made the emphasis that he wanted to go for, and it was law enforcement's job to go and find the people who are committing these crimes. Now, in Russia, they do it differently, okay? In Russia, so in America, you define the crime and then go find the man, the person who is committing that crime. In Russia, you define the person that you want to destroy through the use of law enforcement, and then you find the crime, whatever you want it to be, because you have control of the courts and control of these kangaroo judicial proceedings. So in America, you define the crime and go and find the man. In Russia, you define the man and then you go and manufacture a crime that you want to decide that he's guilty, so you can put him in prison, so you can contain your enemies. Trump's effort always was to use whatever part of government law enforcement he could to go after his enemies. Now that can be difficult to do because the Department of Justice largely is our career people. By the way, if you work for the government, you are allowed to have political opinions. That's a shockaroo. You are allowed to say, I support fascism in Donald Trump. You're allowed to have that viewpoint. You are allowed to say, goodness, this is horrible what Trump is doing to this country. That is not a problem. Everyone in our country is allowed to have their political opinions. So if there's someone who's involved in some investigation, as long as they do not allow those political opinions to jade or influence their investigation, of course they can have those opinions, and they're going to have those opinions either way. It's true wherever you go. People in the IRS, they may not like the person that they're auditing, but that does not excuse them to do evil things as they audit an individual. So here's the point. Trump will always, fascists will always, authoritarian regimes will always define the man and, they will go and find the man and then define the crime. Who is it? Navalny? I forget the name of the man that just in the last couple of months, Putin decided to throw in prison because he was vocal in his disagreements with Putin. And Trump would love to do the exact same thing. And it won't take long. Even if you support Trump now, he is going to cross the line. Oh, my dear Republican leadership, you will find a time when you cannot do what he tells you to do anymore. There is no honor. He will not care that you truckled to him for 5 years. He will throw you under the bus and send his brown shirts to your home. His Cossacks will come to your home, and scream at you from the sidewalk and threaten you and your family. There will come a time, and many Republican leadership, my dear Rob Portman, saying, I'm out of here. I'm not going to let that happen to me. Speaking when they should remain silent, and cutting and running when they should stand and pay the piper for the benefits that they've achieved so far through playing who to fear and who to blame and sucking money out of it for all these past 25 years. That is the point. That is the difference between American law enforcement and Russian law enforcement. And Trump is definitely using Russian law enforcement. You define the individual and then you assign the crime.